Today I wanted to talk about sort of a continuation of when I went through the ritualistic sacrifice, and I did want to mention that it was in my 40th year actually that happened, so I presume that the years of that they trafficked me, my usefulness and my money making had probably come to an end, and so they decided to offer me and my 3-year-old up as a sacrifice. I think I did basically go into some of the details that happened there. I also mentioned how my daughter was, they tried to take my daughter out exactly 22 years later. So my that first one happened over a 3-day period on a full moon period, because these witches and warlocks and all of that, these cults, the Masonic cults, etc., they love to go by moon phases. Well, that's what I found out since. And so they came for my daughter the night before a new moon, which I don't know, I read somewhere, but it's like a waning moon or something, and it's a big time for witchcraft. So yeah, exactly 22 years later, they actually came for her and her unborn child. She was 8 months pregnant at the time. I've actually got some photos to show you of this is what happened with her. They sent a car, a young guy driving a car, doing 180 kilometres an hour on the freeway, and she was sitting in the back right-hand seat. So I'll just show you the picture of the car that she was in. Yeah, amazing that her and her baby are still alive. So she broke her back, and the baby, he died in utero, but he was revived, and he was born on he was born at 1:44 a.m. on the 25th of the 7th, 25. So it's pretty recent still, and it's still pretty raw for me. The baby had cracked his skull in utero and his clavicle, and he had brain bleeds for a month. They had the coroner coming. It was they were basically saying that there wasn't much hope for him. I'll just show you a picture of. This is what they do. This is what these evil people do to good people. So he's got, he now has a diagnosis. They're both disabled for life. Like I said, my daughter broke her back. He has a diagnosis of cerebral palsy, but they're alive, so I'm really grateful for that. So that was obviously, they'd lost their 2-for-1 deal, but 22 years later they came back to claim their 2-for-1, and they missed again, didn't they? So sorry, I sound a little bit angry about it, but rightfully so. These people just need to be stopped, and I just hope with all of us, all of the people, the targeted people, targeted individuals, gang stalkers, whatever you want to, organised harassment, because if you've been following my story, mine was the police. I was a witness into, I had a royal commission, I sat at a royal commission into police corruption, so I was a witness into police corruption. Also, going back before that time. So that was when I was about, I don't know, 27 or so when that happened. But going back, I had actually already had a run-in with the police. So whether I was put on the list all the way back then. So when I was about 18 or so, I had a German Shepherd, and the German Shepherd ran out onto the road, and there was a policewoman that was bowling down the road. It was a 60-kilometre zone, and she was bowling down at least 80 kilometres an hour. She'd just come off duty. I didn't obviously know at the time that she was a policewoman, and just hit him, and basically he died. But the thing that got me there was that she was so cold about it. It was she didn't even really look at him, at the dog that was like on his last death throes on the side of the road, and I was just extremely distraught. Just a young 18-year-old girl, watching a dog die in front of her. He did later die on the way to the vets. A neighbour kindly took me and him to the vet, and he did die on my lap on the way to the vet. So, and that neighbour talked me into going to the police station to report it, because she had been going so fast. But all that she was worried about was the damage to her car, and you're going to have to pay for that, So, so I did go in to report it, and it was almost like I seen the gang mentality of the police at that time, because they were basically, there was one person on the desk to start with, and then all of a sudden there was a whole like clan of them all standing around saying, well, actually she's a, lucky me, she had her, I think it was her father was a sergeant of that station, and just my luck. I think I'm here to do this, to like out these people, because it seems to have been, I think that's my mission, because it just seems to have been time and time again that I've had run-in with these people. So whether I was put on the list back then, because how dare I question these people in authority, and I was saying, yes, but she was speeding. I know that I have to pay for the damage to the car, but this woman was speeding and she killed my dog, and she had no empathy. She didn't even look at the dog, and and they're basically telling me to go away. So yeah, that was going all the way back then when I was 18. I mean, I'm 61 now, and just all this big picture is starting to emerge, and yeah, so yes, the list does exist. Whether I was put on it back then, whether I was put on it from birth, I don't know. And people can say, oh my gosh, she thinks she's crazy, like she thinks she's a chosen and all the rest of it. Well, yes, I do. I 100% do believe that I am. And that's only been a realisation within the past, I don't know, 20 odd so years. But chosen for what? I don't know. To expose the darkness? Yes, more than likely. Anyway, that's all for now. Signing off, over and out, and God bless you all.